Welcome to World History Notes, my World History Notes, where I share with you things that I'm learning about world history, things that I've already known, but also new things that I'm learning as I study. And this is all stuff that's very shallow. You can find it very easily on the internet. You can look it up in books. You can research it. You don't even have to be a scholar. I'm not one. I'm just a regular person that just enjoys studying this stuff. So I'm looking and learning, and I'm sharing it with you. I hope this will encourage you to look and learn as well. So we're going to revisit somebody I talked about before today, a very important figure, a very controversial figure in American history, world history, and Cold War history. So let me begin with a date. On June 26, 1945, the United Nations Conference on International Organization concluded when the United Nations Charter was signed at the San Francisco War Memorial and Performing Arts Center by 50 of the 51 original member countries. Now, remember, Alger Hiss was the Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on International Organization. That was the convention that created the UN Charter, and that was what we're talking about. Alan Weinstein, who wrote in the book Perjury, Andrei Gromyko, the Soviet delegate to the conference, praised Hiss to Hiss's superior Stettness for his impartiality and fairness. Hiss later became full director of the State Department's Office of Special Political Affairs. In late 1946, Hiss left government service, became president of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, where he served until May 5th, 1949. That was the end of the presidential term to which he'd been elected, and he was forced to step down. Now, Alger Hiss is was known as a spy, but there's also people that say that the evidence isn't clear. And so there's a lot of people who say Alger Hiss was unfairly accused of being a Soviet spy. Here's a person who had a hand. I'm not saying how much, I don't think anybody really knows, but he had a hand in creating the United Nations and doing it in a way favorable to the Soviet Union. Excuse me. I'm going to read regarding this Alger Hiss from a book called The Rise and Fall of the KGB in America by John Earl Haynes, Harvey Clear, and Alexander Vasiliev. It's called Spies, The Rise and Fall of the KGB in America, Yale University Press, Kindle edition. I'm going to read this to you. We'll just do this for today because I think it's important. It's important to notice that it's a very clear example of how people writing policy influence the post World War II world. Okay, so here's the quote. Alexander Vasiliev's notebooks quote KGB reports and cables from the mid 1930s to 1950 that document KGB knowledge of and contacts with Alger Hiss, not equivocally identify Hiss as a long-term espionage source of the KGB sister agency, GRU, Soviet Military Intelligence. Hiss is identified by his real name as well as by cover names like Jurist, Ailes, and Leonard. The material fully corroborates the testimony and accounts of Whittaker Chambers, Haiti Massing, Noel Field, and others while offering new details about Hiss's relationship with Soviet intelligence. No individual is a more potent symbol of American collaboration with Soviet intelligence than Alger Hiss. From the moment of his confrontation with Whittaker Chambers in 1948, Hiss became the central figure in a debate that has divided Americans for decades. On the one side stood those who saw him as the archetype of a generation of young, college educated people radicalized by the Depression, drawn to Washington during the heady days of the New Deal, and ultimately converted to communism. Intoxicated by their new ideology, they cooperated with Soviet intelligence agencies and eventually betrayed liberalism's commitment to political democracy and aided Stalin's totalitarian state. On the other side are those who regarded Hiss as an innocent victim of anti-communist paranoia, a New Deal idealist maliciously framed by right-wing provocateurs, backed by the reactionary wing of the Republican Party and malign elements of FBI who were eager to discredit liberalism and taint the New Deal and the Democratic Party with treason. So the evidence is clear, though, from the KGB files that Alger Hiss was a Soviet agent, and he had a tremendous influence in the post-World War. And we'll go on to others next. I do want to get into different people and organizations and also areas of the world and that are fomenting this radical communist um, international violence and takeover, and these countries are always totalitarian. So in any event, I hope that you'll this encourages you to study, and it's um, it's amazing. So I'm going to show you also a link between Islamic fundamentalism as expressed by the Iranian regime and Marxism. So that will come later. All right. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a good day.